Unfortunately, though, we do begin with a news story, a tragedy here in the United States that has affected the sports world. There were figure skaters on the plane that crashed last night in Washington, D.C. I'm sure many of you have seen this in the news. The United States Figure Skating Association said that skaters were returning from a development camp that followed the U.S. Figure Skating Championships over the weekend in Wichita, Kansas, and they have confirmed that several members of the skating community were aboard American Airlines Flight 5342, which collided with a helicopter late last night. 60 passengers, 4 crew members. Naturally, at this point, we don't know more than that. A lot feared, of course, to have perished in this crash. Condolences, of course, from all of us here at SportsGrid, but it has affected the sports world, and that is the top story on our show today. Also, a story with Super Bowl security. Enhanced measures are headed to the city of New Orleans for the upcoming Super Bowl around the Dome from February the 5th through the 10th. In fact, no coolers, no ice chests allowed in the area. Bags are now down to 4.5 to 6.5 inches, subject to search. And also, 100,000 visitors are expected to be headed to the city. There's going to be a lot more checks. Homeland Security will be in place. Here are some of the new security measures as described by the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry.
Now, this is in addition to the enhanced security zone that is around the Superdome, which is controlled by the Department of Homeland Security in conjunction with the NFL. It's important for the public to understand that there are 2 different enhanced security zones and that they have different restrictions in each. The checkpoint in the French Quarter enhanced security zone, there will be checkpoints that are set up at each entry to prevent and deter the introduction of any destructive explosive materials. Coolers and ice chests of any kind will be prohibited in our enhanced security zone. So in the French Quarter, coolers and ice chests will be prohibited. Any bags or containers larger than 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches, which is basically the size of a lady's clutch, are subject to search by law enforcement prior to entering the enhanced security zone.
Meanwhile, we're at the end of the week, and the Super Bowl is almost upon us, and the New Orleans Saints still do not have a head coach in the NFL, which is a little bizarre, but Kellen Moore has reportedly been viewed as a name to potentially watch. He is the offensive coordinator of the Eagles. This is according to a report from NFL Network. Moore right now preparing for the Super Bowl. Saints still do not have a coach. Steve Wilks, former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, has agreed to be the defensive coordinator of the New York Jets, and the Raiders are expected to stick with Patrick Graham as their defensive coordinator, with Pete Carroll coming on board. In the NBA, Adam Silver, talking ahead of the upcoming All-Star game and trade deadline, said on Wednesday that he likes the idea of shortening the games themselves to 40 minutes, going to 10-minute quarters instead of 12. Really interesting. We'll see if that ends up happening. LaMelo Ball is going to be out at least 1 week due to an ankle sprain. He's having a great year, 28 points per game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a game to remember, folks, and we've said that so many times this season. The overwhelming favorite for the Most Valuable Player award, scored 52 points yesterday, yet the Warriors lost, the Thunder lost to the Warriors 116-109. Steph Curry had 21 points. Steve Kerr glowing about his team, but also did mention the performance from SGA.
Well, we battled. That was the main thing. And Shea is, he's incredible. I mean, everyone knows that, and he's impossible to guard. So he did his thing, but I thought the second half we were much more disciplined. Didn't give up much easy stuff, and they only made 9 threes, which was a huge part of the game. They missed some open ones, but all in all, I just thought our second half intensity, the way everybody scrapped out there, every single guy who came on the floor, just scrapped and gave us great minutes. And I could go up and down the roster, but it was kind of a vet game. Loon, Gary, Kyle, Wiggs, all these guys just came through. Dennis was amazing, second half, especially defensively. And so our guys came up big against, best team in the league. So great win.
Great win for the Warriors. We'll see if they can build on it. Meanwhile, the Denver Nuggets fall to 0-3 on their 5-game road trip. They lose to the Knicks. Jalen Brunson had 30 points, 122 to 112, the final. Certainly a big win for head coach Tom Thibodeau, who talked about getting the victory. And so did Mike Malone, talked about the loss.
We were missing some good shots. But once we got our defense going, I think that's what turned it. And our ball pressure, forcing turnovers, getting into the open floor, the play that OG made and with Josh, it was a great hustle play, but that sort of got us going. And then we picked up the tempo. We were able to go off a live ball. And, I think we had 25 fast break points. And that was a turning point. So you got to win games different ways. I didn't like the rebounding in the first half, second half better. But our hustle really is what got us going.
I think the big stat for me tonight is the turnovers, 20-point differential. They scored 23 points off our mistakes. We only scored 3 off of theirs. And, to beat that team in this arena in front of that crowd and you spot them 20 points off mistakes, it's going to be really hard to overcome, which led to the 25 fast break points. But, better fight, better effort. Just got to be a little bit cleaner.
Right now, it would appear that the NBA is going to be all over Victor Wembayama after his comments last night. Kawhi Leonard, big fourth quarter as the Clippers beat Wemby and the Spurs 128 to 116. But Wemby involved in a little scuffle, shoved to the court from behind by Zubats. Wemby got up, ran after the Clippers center. He was held back by the Spurs. Needless to say, Wemby doesn't seem to be feeling like the calls by the refs are going his way.
You get a fair whistle most nights in terms of people being physical with you?
No. So it's a hard thing, to fight because it feels unfair sometimes, but it's and of course we talk about it with the staff. And there is some stuff I have to do to help myself. First of all, being strong and not bailing out shots, but also also there is some work to do, like talking to the ref, of course, explaining myself. But it's for me, it doesn't feel like it's something I should influence. It's like I'm a basketball player. I'm here to play. And this is this is why it's frustrating. It's not my job to do politics.
Wemby going a little bit further than anyone thought post-game yesterday. Kristaps Porzingis, huge game last night for the Celtics. He had 34 points. They beat the Bulls 122 to 100. Donovan Mitchell also had 34 points. The Cavs never trail in their 126 to 106 win against the Heat. By the way, the Cavs are now 33-0. When leading after 3 quarters, and Anthony Edwards had 33 points as well. Timberwolves beat the Suns 121 to 113.